63% of job seekers now actively resist AI only hiring.
We just can't optimize for recruiters and platform efficiency, but not optimize for the candidate experience and candidates.
So if you have AI solution plugged in and there's no process after that, it's actually net negative.
Some people have said, hey, we can tell you whether a person will join or not. Those are the things which even humans have not even able to solve with all their skills and with all their experience.
People now are more comfortable speaking with AI. They actually open up, they have a much better interview, it seems, with AI.
JD is your advertisement. If you're writing template JD from ChatGPT, it is not going to cut it.
I am a 25-year-old aspiring recruiter. What advice would you have keeping the future and the next 5 years, especially AI, in mind? So, Nikunj, you had written, are candidates getting tired of AI led hiring processes? It seems so. As per the recent ET report, 63% of job seekers now actively resist AI only hiring. And CutShort data shows a trend. We've run over 90,000 AI screening interviews over the past year, and participation rate has dropped from 38% to 24% only. Now, using that as context, Nikunj, do you want to play out what the broad strokes of where AI can be used in recruiting today? And let's cover grounds that even if you don't have, let's say, a paid tool, how you can use AI in your everyday work in recruiting.
Sure. Thanks, Ranak, for having me here. So, good question. I think uh, as any technology becomes available, people started adopting it, using it for screening, for resume reviews, for AI calls, conversation AI. So, all these use
Mm-hmm.
cases were early. I think last 1.5 years, we have been seeing industry adopting these different capabilities into different parts of the process. AI screening example that you just gave is one of the applications where instead of a recruiter calling a candidate, an AI could actually gauge the candidate's fitment to the job position better. And that is, of course, one very, very valid and very useful use case, because you don't have to do thousands of calls with every candidate. You can just have an AI call, and AI can understand the responses, can adapt to what the candidate is saying. But I think what happened uh, in last 1 year is a lot of companies started doing pilots, and in pilots they started adding more candidates to their funnels, to these in the funnels to these kind of tools. And when you start adopting something more with a lot of enthusiasm but less fail safes and less caution, that how is the experience going to be, what is in it for the candidates, then you will make some volume based trade offs, and you will actually start sacrificing the touch points that you want to create with the candidates. That's what we have seen, that initially it was a very novel idea for both companies and candidates. Candidates loved that they could get real time fast responses from somebody at the other end, because before that
Mm-hmm.
everything was a black hole. But the anticipation was that companies will be acting on this data fast, and they will be coming back to them. And that's where there was no AI in place. The AI was only collecting data and hoping that somebody from the human team will actually look at this data and do a faster prioritization of candidates who have taken the time to respond. And while the top 5% people, 10% people who responded and who were a great fit, they got the attention. The next 30, 40, 50% people who attempted and who were not a great fit, they were the ones who were still left hanging. And that is where, once they had this experience 1 or 2 times, then of course they started doubting the entire process. But yeah, I think that experience was shared in that context, that we should as industry do better in marrying the interest of all the stakeholders. We just can't optimize for recruiters and platform efficiency, but not optimize for the candidate experience and candidates interest in this. So yeah, that was the context of that post that I made.
So the learning here is for recruiters or for companies that if you're putting, let's say, one AI solution, then the expectation on the other side is it is a very optimized funnel throughout. So if you have one AI solution plugged in and there's no AI after that, or there's no process after that, it's actually net negative. So if you're doing AI, then actually optimize the whole process through AI, or maybe have a process at the end, right? We spoke of screening. Do you want to dive a little bit deep into how, let's say, search, outreach, reviews, and screening may AI can help? And maybe give some examples of some tools. Let's also cover ChatGPT if it is useful, because it's free, right? Nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. If you look at the candidate moving into the funnel of recruiting, there are different phases to get the candidate hired,
Hmm.
right? So the first thing is you need to get intentful data. So
Correct.
intentful data is that you have people who are more likely to respond to you. So that's intent. After intentful is relevance, whether the candidate is relevant or not. And relevant means in the context of your role, your company, who is the person who's relevant based on what kind of skills they have, what kind of experience they have, what kind of company background or industry background they have. So that is relevance. Now once
Mm-hmm.
they become interested, they are looking to engage with you, and that is
Mm-hmm.
that's where the human part of recruiting has actually becomes more important, because the candidate is now interested. Are you able to focus on them? Are you able to understand their profiles better, their intents better? A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, and this used to happen in the early days of recruiting, or it like not so early, even in 2 years ago. The recruitment funnels were heavily bloated, and most of the time of recruiting teams were spent on the top of the three stages funnel: intentful data, relevant data, and interested data. And
Okay.
the ball was dropping after they became interested, because now most of the time is going in the first three stages.
Mm-hmm.
So your candidate, you don't understand the candidate that well. You're just trying to slot the candidate into your job role, and once you start treating every candidate same, then you lose your interest, you lose your ability to actually make the right pitch and make the candidate feel that this is the right company for. And then you
That's
have
fair.
offer backouts, all of that, right? So the fourth stage is engaged, and then after engagement you offer, and then you and the person joins. So I would say 6 stage process of candidate flows through this. And now if you look at it from what is happening with AI, interestingly, the first 3 stages is where I think AI really is useful.
Yeah.
Now if you have done your job well, then you should be getting just enough engaged candidates that your recruiting team can actually handle. And now you can deploy this
Mm-hmm.
time on the latter 3 stages, which is where no AI can actually solve the problem, because
Hmm.
it's a human to human thing. So now there's multiple touch points getting created, which is
Hmm.
where the human judgment and human strategy of how you're going to manage this entire process becomes more useful. Some people have tried to solve for the latter 3 stages also. Some people have said, hey, we can tell you whether a person will join or not,
Hmm.
or
Acha,
will
हाँ.
tell you whether the person what the person is thinking. I think those are the things which even humans have not even able to solve with all their with all their skills and
Yeah.
with all their experience. Now talking about tools and how people are doing it and how ChatGPT can do it, I think the first stage where you have to find intentful data is largely a function of recruitment marketing. So how are you able to find people who are intentful, who are looking out, who are okay, who might be looking to join something, is where you go to LinkedIn sort of places where you find intent. Not really a lot of thing you can do with AI there, but it's a most likely recruitment marketing thing. The second two stages where you find whether they are relevant or not, and whether they're you want to make them interested, is where we have seen most of the AI deployment happening.
Okay. And
uh,
how is that
and
happening?
let's say you have thousands of profiles who are coming in your search results, but the search results is coming very broadly in terms of keywords and all of that. But then how do you actually find people who are not just matching keywords, who are matching the context of the work that you want to do, right? And
Okay.
and recruiters today have to build that context using multiple complex boolean searches and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Then they have to add filters of companies, have to add filters of college education. So
Correct.
all of that
Correct.
context you're trying to build today manually.
Mm-hmm.
And then even then and then the results come, and then they have to look at every profile, read the profile, to see
Mm-hmm.
to look at some indicators like, okay, which college they went to, then based on their knowledge graph which they have in their head. And same thing with company, what kind of company is this? So all of this is eating into their time, uh, while there are better ways with AI to do it. And there are tools which have done it. I think increasingly this problem is getting solved by the platforms in terms of search queries becoming more natural language rather than more keyword or centric. So you can just simply type backend developers with Java, and that will make sure only backend developers will come, not front end people who have also mentioned Java on their on their profile. So,
Hmm.
and then again, I'll show you how on CutShort, for example, it can be done.
Sure.
Uh,
Yes.
okay, so let me share my screen and show it to you how the relevance problem is solved in CutShort.
So, Nikunj, I think before we get into CutShort, maybe a quick couple of minutes on what CutShort is and what's the problem you're solving.
Okay, so just to give you context of what CutShort does, so I talked about these 6 stages of recruitment, and I said, the first three parts is where the top of the funnel is activity is happening.
Hmm.
If you do these three parts well, then you can actually get time for the latter three parts. CutShort actually is doing the first three parts
Okay.
for the recruiting teams. You can think of it as a copilot or cursor or lovable for
Okay.
recruiters. You like you would go to a cursor or lovable and say, hey, this is what I want, and then you would expect that service to do the end-to-end activity for you. What we are doing is we are partnering with them so that they can do the human part of recruiting better. We do the data crunching and the operational part of it, so that we can solve that problem for them. If you look at the Indian context, most of the companies are looking to hire immediately available people or within max 30 days. So India
Right.
as a market is very, very tight deadline centric. And if you waste your time in top of the funnel activity, then you could really
Mm.
have less shot in meeting your hiring deadlines. That's where we
Mm.
come in. Unlike agencies, our innovation is that unlike agencies which do the whole recruiting support, we also have a lightweight model which is only sourcing model. And instead of paying 8.3% or something, you can just pay 3.5% if you hire someone. So it brings a lot of cost efficiency. It brings a lot of speed to the hiring cycles. And then there is no upfront cost or upfront training of recruiters required. So a lot of companies are now finding this to be a great model because they want to make them more productive, more
Mm.
doing more productive work
Got it. Makes sense. And you're able to afford these low rates because at the back end you use a lot of AI and tech.
because of also volume, right? So
Understood.
uh,
Okay.
at the volume that we can unlock, we can actually create more margins, and also
Hmm.
the cost of course, with the platform and AI advantage, we have lower cost
Got it.
than agencies.
Okay. Got it. Okay. You were showing cut short.
Okay, so is screen right? Okay, if I okay, so
You'll just
if I
share the
share
window or
the
what have you.
let me just share the screen because I think one problem will happen. Okay,
Yeah, you can just cross that out.
you can see this pop up window as well.
Yeah. You can just cross that out.
Okay. So, for example, I was talking about relevance. Now, this is an
Nikunj, can you
example
just
of cut.
zoom in a little on the screen?
Yeah.
100% color. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So, although I'm giving example of cut short, but my intention here is to show you the possibilities of how the relevance can be solved uh, on a large data set.
Hmm.
So we have, let's say, let me just reset the filters. So I was saying, you can search better based on the role rather than just searching on keywords. So you can type what exactly your role context is, and I can type, let's say, backend developer with Selenium experience. Now, why I'm picking up this example, because Selenium is mostly an automation testing kind of a tool. So a lot of times when you type Selenium, uh, in most of the keyword based thing, you will find people who are just doing automation testing. But when you're searching like this, what you actually anticipate or what you actually expect is something went wrong here. Okay, let me go back. Okay, so I did that search, and now it is trying to find people who are matching that role.
Hmm.
So it is going to look at the the data of the profile, and it's trying to uh, I think there is some problem. Some authentication problem has happened, so I'll just stop.
But we'll edit this part out. No problem.
Okay, क्या हो गया यार? Okay, okay, okay. I think I changed my. I logged into from a different user. Okay, so yeah, so I we just search backend developer with Python and Selenium experience, and it is looking at the profiles, trying to also give a summary of what they have done, which matches there with the search intent that we have. Now
Hmm.
here, the relevance to my search for this profile is that this candidate brings experience in backend development with Python and Selenium for automated testing, has designed scalable RESTful APIs using Django, and effectively utilize Docker for containerization, right? So it is more broader profile, not very heavily narrowing itself into automation testing. And it will try to give you this kind of results. Again, same backend development with Python Django. So it's not Selenium is, although was mentioned, the focus, because the intent of the role was to focus on backend developers. It is trying to find those people who are heavy on backend development, and then it is also saying that okay, has also conducted testing with Selenium, which is the intent of the search. The intent of this search was
Hmm.
not to find people with automation testing experience, right? So this is basically natural language search, role context based search rather than keyword based search. Now, to achieve the similar thing, or to achieve similar relevance, in earlier days we would have to combine Selenium, let's say some kind of boolean keyword combination, that
Hmm.
okay, backend development, or now somebody might have written backend development, they might have written something else, so they have different titles, plus Python minus Selenium, or plus Selenium minus automation testing or something like that.
Hmm.
It would be very difficult for you to find this kind of relevance with a combination of keywords. So this is one example
Hmm.
of natural language search. Now, other interesting thing I was saying earlier was that, let's say I am a product company, I only want people from other startups. I am not interested in people from IT
Fair.
services
Yeah.
companies, which is a very common example and very common
Yes.
use case. Typically today the way it works is you have to go to these filters, and you have to find company, then you have to find exclude, then you'll type
I
the
have to give
names of
company
IT
names.
services
Yeah.
companies, right? Which is, you can never cover the
Yeah.
ground. There are hundreds of IT services companies out there. Similarly, I want to, let's say, include only startups, and then people will search or type names of different funded startups. Now they remember 10, 15, or they have a list of 25, 30, they put it there. There's no guarantee that a company will match or not match, and then there might be
Correct.
more and more that you will miss, right? So it's, again, one of those cases where AI can be much more powerful, because AI has a context of knowledge base of so many companies, and AI can also guess better than humans, because at the moment it looks at something, let's say, called as, let's say, ally.io or ally.ai, it knows that this is more likely a startup, right? So it also
Hmm.
can make those intelligent guesses that recruiters or company or human will have to train their teammates on, and it will become more difficult. So what we have done, for example, in terms of relevance, is you can go to not use this filter. This is all old filters. You can go and say, I want to exclude people from IT services companies, and I can just click on this filter and let the AI filter people out who are from large IT services companies. uh, Simple, one checkbox, and you don't have to type any more names. So now you can find people who are from tech startups. This person's from tech
Hmm.
startup. This person's from tech startup. You can also see, now this is a guess by the AI. The candidate has worked at Cyberflex, both of which appear to be technology-based startups based on the description. So it has some description of what work they have done, what kind of company it is doing, and based on that, it is
Acha.
derived that it is a startup, right?
Hmm.
So it has, and then there is, if I want to really focus on startup more, I can click on funded startups, and then it will again try to figure out, further tighten the whole search. Right now, it is trying to look for people from funded startups. So
Hmm.
Cisco, it is able to find that is Crystal.ai is a well-known startup in fintech sector, so it is able to find that. So now, whole this, I would have taken a lot of time to find this kind of result set, but with AI powered attributes and AI powered search, I'm
Hmm.
able to find them better. So this truncates the entire time from hours to minutes. And then, interestingly, similar to this AI attribute that we just saw, there are more attributes that people are traditionally also interested in. For example, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I'm not interested in startups. I'm interested in people not from IT services companies, and I'm also interested in people who have done very high work quality, right? And typically this is evident from the kind of resumes they've written, the kind of projects they have done, and I want to find people like that, an interesting angle for you to slice and dice. You can see this is a high work
Yeah,
quality
but how
person.
are you? How are you? But that's very subjective, right? How are you
Yeah, yeah.
evaluating like work quality?
Yeah, so let's hover over it. So
Mhm.
AI has been given a prompt, and AI has run over this prompt over this resume, and AI is trying to grade the profile into different quality of work that has been already given to it in the prompt. So what it has found here is that this person, for example, has worked on RAG microservices targeting AI support for medical legal purposes, showcasing innovative problem solving and technical depth in machine learning. Also spearheaded the design of resilient backend REST API or something like that, right? So based on the
Mm.
complexity of the work in the domain that they have done, so the prompt actually takes care of the fact that, look at the profile background, look at what the someone with high competence would have achieved in that work area, and then look at evaluate the person's work area in that context and try to give it a rating. So based on
Got it.
that, these profile attributes have already been derived when the profile came to CutShort. It's not being derived right
Acha.
now. It is being already derived. It is all been tagged. So classification of data already has happened, and now we just expose them as filters, and you can just very easy find the or look at the profiles which have been already classified in a specific way.
Mm.
So you can find more examples like that. Uh, again, this person has worked on NLP and Gen AI powered chatbots. So this is the work quality thing. Then there is something called as career growth. So who has shown fast career growth, and you can hover over it to see what exactly this means. So this person has shown signs or relatively fast career growth in their experience. So if you also enable this graph or this filter, you are going to find people who have also shown fast career growth. So this person was promoted to principal software QA automation engineer at Pubmatic within 6 years of starting full-time work position. So principal engineering position, reaching that in 6 years in a company like Pubmatic, is termed as a fast career growth uh,
Got it.
by AI,
Interesting.
right? So you can find these people as well, right? So these are
Mm.
so if you cut through the noise, and out of so many people, if you just click on, let's say, overall data here, right? Let's say there are, from other startups, there are 2.5 lakh people recently active. Now you can't look at all of them, so you can slice and dice, find relevant people. Then you can slice, okay, who are the people who have done entrepreneurship thing? I want to know people who have co-founded a venture. And you click on here, and again, so it shows that Saurabh
Mm.
founded this company but worked there for a month. There is no information. So this co-founded a venture but only for a short period of time. This person co-founded TSN Footwear Accessories, a B2C startup, right? So I'm depending on what kind of fitment I'm looking for, I can slice and dice the data better than just using the keyword based rudimentary approaches and then looking at every resume and trying to do that work manually. It just turbocharges the entire process.
Mm. It's very useful. Mm.
Yeah, same thing with pedigree, right? So already classified tiers of colleges. No need to type the names of all the colleges. AI already knows what colleges in India, and it's all trained on Indian data. So it already has classified the data in that way, and that just makes it more easy for you to find the profile. So this is the example of relevance. Now this is our prompts. We have tailor made these prompts for our users, our focus areas. So
Well,
this could
yeah.
be trained differently for different industries, or you can build your own custom gradations also, which is, I think, your second part of a question, that can ChatGPT be used for these kind of things as well. So it can surely be used. I think ChatGPT is one way you can do it. You can give prompts for finding out the things that you are interested in. So if you're interested in, let's say, career growth in pharma, or you're interested in manufacturing, a certain sort of profile that they, let's say, in manufacturing, a lot of good quality talent gets hired by a lot of companies in India, like let's say Tata Motors or
Mm.
something like that. So you can find people who are campus hires from the top tier companies in manufacturing. You can make that
Mm.
kind of a attribute yourself, and then you
Mm.
can pass through the data and then ask AI to grade or find if the person has passes that kind of check, and you can find those
Mm.
profiles as well. So it just needs a prompt, some training or examples of what kind of data you're looking for, and then some evaluations, and just making sure it is working fine. And I think we were talking about earlier hallucinations happening. So
Mm.
yes, there would be hallucinations happening, like the first example, right? Co-founded a venture,
Mm.
founded but left, only in a month.
Hmm.
Not really a founder in that way, right? But
Correct.
it's something which is still relevant to me. And even
Hmm.
if it's not hitting the bar all the time, it is still helping me with, let's say, 9,000 people who are
Hmm.
still better, such better result for me to start working on, rather than not
Hmm.
having this at all. This could have been fixed as well. This is, if this is coming a lot of times, then you can, in your
Hmm.
prompt, you can say, hey, if anybody has co-founded but only worked for less than 6 months, then
Hmm.
don't tag them as a founder, right? So it could be also
Correct.
sorted at the prompt level. And again, very interesting thing, job tenures. A lot of companies come to
Hmm.
us and say, hey, we don't want to hire anybody who's a job hopper, right?
Hmm.
So sometimes you will find people here who are tagged. And again, this is also uh, how do you decide this feature, how do you package this feature for customers? So what we have done is, we have not tried to uh, you know give this as a different feature or different filter. We are saying, okay, you want to exclude people who are job hoppers, you can just click on this and you'll not see any job hoppers here. uh,
Hmm.
you can't see people who are job hopping in general. You can, because your intent is to look for people who are not job hopping.
Hmm.
So if you just remove everything here, you will might find some people who are job hoppers. So that also is one most sought after feature, that we want to have people who are stable
And
in their
all
job.
these features, can they be customized per client, or this is standard across for you?
We can do it for enterprise customers.
Okay.
If they have a specific need, and we can do it, we can train it, this attribute we can create, and it will only appear in their dashboard.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Because for someone,
Yeah,
hopper might be few months, someone might be one
yeah, I
year,
know.
right? Yeah.
Yes, yes. Okay, so yeah, this is an example of relevance building. And the objective of relevance building is to find people who are most suitable for you faster. And then you start from this list, and the next stage begins, which is interested. Now I have found these people who are looking
Hmm.
quite a good fit for me. Now how do I reach out to them, and how
Hmm.
do I make them interested? Now this is something which today's, in the previous era, you would have to do some sort of bulk emailing, which
Correct.
they might not see. Or you would do some sort of custom WhatsApping. Again, WhatsApp also has their own rules. Or you would
Hmm.
pick up the phone and you start calling them. You will
Calling
look
them.
at the
Yeah.
phone number and all of that, right? So this is again a lot of heavy duty work for a recruiter. And earlier I said, a recruiter's true value of the job is not to make a phone call, is to understand
Hmm.
the candidate. The problem is, when you're making thousands of calls every month, you're just focusing more on volume and getting data
Hmm.
points, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. So what we have done
Absolutely.
on the platform is, you can just save the search and say, hey, I want invite these people. So I want to
Hmm.
invite to my role data engineer. It will generate a message. You can regenerate a message. How do you want to generate? You can give it instructions, and it will generate a message, and you can save this message. Now what
Hmm.
AI is going to do is, AI is going to reach out to the people uh,
Hmm.
in batches. So like here you can see the count of people it has reached out to. So these are backend heavy people for some role, and these
Hmm.
people, 336 people, have been reached out to. Now how this reach out is happening, I just set it and I forget it. I don't have to do anything else.
Hmm.
Now it will use different channels on its own, like an expert outbound or expert outreach assistant. So it is going to first reach out to them on email. It is going to also double up on WhatsApp. And if the person still doesn't apply, and it's day two, then it will also make an AI call, and it's actually a real phone call that it will make to the candidate. It's an AI powered outreach. So
Hmm.
this is
Hello,
a recording.
Basaboina. I am calling from CutShort regarding an interesting opportunity that might match your profile. Can we talk?
Yeah.
This opportunity is with Just Answer. Just Answer is an online expert marketplace that connects people with work. It's remote opportunity for an analyst role based in Covina, California. Does this sound like something you would be interested in? Alright. Are you currently working?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you resigned from your current position?
I'm not.
Alright. What is your official notice period as per your company policy?
I did it.
Okay, Basaboina. What is your official notice period as per your company policy? Got it. Is your notice period negotiable?
Yeah.
Got it. What's the negotiable notice period? Are
Okay.
you current?
Got it. I think it's clear. Got it. So only the ones who are genuinely interested. Now you just know without having to spend a single second by yourself. Awesome.
Yeah, and again, this is again a superpower, right? So if you start abusing this superpower, the way we said
Hmm.
earlier, then you will have problems. So that's why I think one important takeaway is that every downstream process needs to be uh, designed based on what upstream process did. So if your relevance thing is not sorted and you start using AI
Hmm.
called left, right, and center, then you actually creating
Yeah.
more
Then
waste.
it's spamming.
And
Yeah.
when you once you pe- when people start receiving calls and they start investing in that relationship, and you don't really get back to them, then it's even worse, because now
Hmm.
you have the potential, of backlash on Glassdoor and all these platforms, that these people just spam calls and they never respond.
Hmm.
So the stakes get even higher for recruiters to amp up their human side and the process design, because you can use AI anywhere, but then you have to be a bit more structured and more strategic about where to place, and all the places, all the knobs and all the gears have to be aligned properly before you can just turn anyone on and then just try to solve one problem piecemeal,
Hmm.
and not solve the entire problem holistically.
Hmm.
And now we
Hmm.
have different checks and balances, that even if you, let's say, go to any result set and you say, okay, I want to reach out to these people for my role, AI will still not make any calls if the candidate is not relevant to the job. So now we have added fail safes. So the stake, although the cost is not so much a problem, but then the cost is not just rupees in off the call. The
Hmm.
cost is overall cost of the experience of the
Hmm.
long term cost of the relationship, right? So that is where I think it requires a bit of iterations as well on when to use
Hmm.
which power and how much to use it for, right? So this is
Hmm.
example of that. And now what I can do is I can just go to my job pipeline, and let's say this is my data engineer role, for which I ran I wanted to hire, and I found relevant people. I also make them interested. So now these 330 people have shown interest. I can now click on, let's say I'll just show you what kind of data we have got. So these were the things which were important for me as a recruiter for this company. One
Hmm.
important and again very interesting thing we've built here is application reviewer. This application reviewer is basically one more AI which can review all the applications for me based on what I'm looking for. Every incoming applicant is graded on these requirements that you have. So I want to look at people who are at least 2 year experience. I want to look at people who are working as data engineers. I want to look at people who are working in Python. I want to look at people uh, who have Spark or Kafka experience. So now I want to look at these profiles first. Now I don't have to review them one by one. I can just find a profile, and you can see 2 years experience, explanation of why they have 2 years of experience. This is again matching. They are working a data engineer, Python. They have experience with Apache Spark. They have used it at this company.
Hmm.
So all the
Hmm.
context of why they're relevant is already given to me. I don't have to look at
Okay.
the profile. So I'm only looking at the profile when all of these
Oh.
whatever I'm interested in is already there. So my
Hmm.
time further is saved, and I can just look at now, do a bit more deeper inspection, that okay, this is candidate
Hmm.
really relevant. So again, the search and the application review cost also, or the time also goes down. And then anybody who is not matching my criteria, so I want to now look at people, let's say I want to look at people who are don't have years of experience, it didn't match, then I just
Okay.
want to reject them, right? So I just want to, and I want to keep a nice message for them. So if
Hmm.
you go all the way, you can just create a nice rejected message here, and I will just reject all of them so that they get an instant closure rather than waiting
Hmm.
for team to review them. So you can basically deal with bad fits, pick the most relevant picks faster. So once I pick this profile, now that's where my recruiting team effort should be mostly spent on, right?
Hmm.
If this person is relevant, I want to now make a 30-minute phone call, 20-minute phone call with this person, rather than having a 5-minute cursory call that I would do earlier,
Hmm.
because I
Hmm.
had so much of work to do, right? So that's where the human part of recruiting gets elevated. And now
Hmm.
you can reject them if let's say they're looking for something else and your company is offering something else. So it's easy
Hmm.
for you to do the exploration and reject them early. And if they're moving
Hmm.
forward, they're much more likely to join as well, because now they got a great experience. So that's how we solve the overall recruitment funnel problem, uh,
Hmm.
using the AI at different stages. So all these, the beauty of this is all of this thing has to work together. uh, one stage has to lead to the value of the other stage, and then all of this process gets orchestrated so that there's a overall balance of what the company is getting, what the candidate is getting,
Hmm.
and as a platform what are we able to achieve for the both parties.
Hmm. Awesome. Thanks for sharing this, because the same person has only finite capacity. Now, that capacity is utilized in the important one, which is making you feel human. The perfect example of where really AI is used to save up your time and use that time to do genuinely good work than all of this work. Amazing. Thank you. I mean, I hope folks listening in. First of all, this is not a paid sponsored post or anything. This is just a very useful tool using AI, and that's what we wanted to highlight. And I leave all of the links below, by the way. Whatever cut short links are, feel free to reach out to Nikunj or go try out the links. You want to
Yeah,
share
so
on this?
one more interesting thing that we do, which I did not cover, is in today's world, you have people writing a lot of things on the resume, but then how
Hmm.
do you know that this person actually has worked well on SQS? Now,
Okay.
typically this will require a recruiter to call them, and hiring team gives them a bunch of 2 or 3 questions to ask. Then they ask those questions, technical questions to engineers, or maybe in any role, right? Recruiters are not in that domain, and then not in the
Correct.
job function, so they generally are looking for a vibe check that this person is able to confidently answer ETL workflow or
Mm.
not, which is also a lot of time taken for you, and again, not very efficient, not very accurate, because a recruiter may not understand that ETL workflow can also be written in, let's say, in a different language altogether or different tool, something like that, right? So it will be difficult for them to gauge that, and then they err on the side of
Absolutely.
caution, and they reject the candidates. They think, oh, this
Hmm.
candidate has not worked on it. So one interesting thing and important thing is also, how do you get more confidence on the relevance of the work they have done? uh, and if you look at, let's say, this role,
Hmm.
this person applied, and this is the history of how that happened. So this is the AI assistant which reached out to them, asked them a few questions that typically companies want. And here, I think we have not enabled AI screener, but then a link would also come here that they would be asked to validate their experience also. Typically useful in, let's say, 2 to 6 year experience range bucket, and you want to also get some more real feel of what kind of work context they have done. So typically the way it works is, on our platform, you mentioned earlier, right, the AI screening and AI interview thing, where we have done
Hmm.
90,000. Now I think this time we have done more than 1 lakh 30 40,000 AI interviews so far. So this
Wow.
AI
Okay.
interview, so this is happening right now. You can see, the stream of AI interviews happening. This is the role. This is the feedback of the AI on this thing. This is a user feedback. Now you can see the user feedback is improving. This 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5. So their experience also getting captured, that how are they liking this experience. And then if you look at any of these profiles, any of these interviews happening, it's a short 20 minutes, 15 20 minutes thing. If you can look at it, actually, you'll find here most of the duration of these interviews is 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 8 minutes, some is 19
And these
minutes.
are the phone call
Most,
interviews or video interviews?
this is audio thing. So
Hmm.
they get an audio from AI, then they respond with an audio.
Hmm.
uh Let me again share this, so you can, I'll have to again share a tab.
Sure.
Hello. Thank you for joining the interview today. Let's get started with a few questions related to your experience and skills.
Yes, I have been working as a software engineer for around 4 years now, and So first of all, where we are bringing all the authors, we could have we
Okay, so you can see this was the role, senior software engineer. This was the criteria which was given to AI interviewer, that I'm as a recruiter, I'm interested in knowing that they should be software engineer, they should be working in SQL, RDBMS, they should have must have 4 experience in software development, Java and Spring Boot. So this is what I
Hmm.
want to ensure that the candidate is able to talk about. So it starts and then the
Hmm.
candidate responds.
People now are more comfortable speaking with AI. They actually open up. They have a much better interview, it seems, with AI. I just read that few days back.
Yeah, I think that also goes because see, I think AI is able to. They know that AI understands what I'm going to talk about. Because if I
Ah,
talk to a human, the human might be in a rush. The human might not understand the
correct,
full
correct,
extent
correct.
of what I'm
Yeah.
saying. So I'll be
Hmm.
if I explain better, at least the data will be captured better, and it will be used in
Hmm.
by the recruiters, right? So this
Hmm.
person is describing more in detail what they're doing. And then now the second question was about, the second area was SQL RDBMS. So here
Mm-hmm.
the AI switched gears, and it gave a Java snippet, a code snippet using Hibernate. And now it is saying, can you identify a performance issue with database interactions? So it's not just talk, it also, if the requirement is technical, it also shows code. And without
Hmm.
asking them to code, it can actually, as an expert, as somebody who has worked on it, you can look at the code and point out some problems here. So it is expecting
Hmm.
you to point out a problem where, okay, what performance issue do you see here and how would you address? The candidate says something, so they are describing the solution. And
Mm-hmm.
it again followed up with a Java code snippet using Spring Boot, similar thing. And then it gave a rating, and in view of the transparency to the candidate, it also showed them the evaluation, so that they also get some value out of it. And it said, okay, this is where you, so this requirement matched, but here you Hibernate code snippet issue, you did not really fully address this problem. Similarly, they don't have much experience in Java and Spring Boot. So it captured that, it also captured the video, and this becomes a part of the candidate profile, which is now used for my CutShort to match them better. So now anytime any Spring Boot heavy role is going to come, we are not going to be matching them this candidate so strongly,
Hmm.
because the person did not really have much experience with Spring Boot, right? So now
Hmm.
the efficiency becomes better, because the company just should not see this candidate much. If they're looking for something else, why to waste their time and why to waste the candidate's time?
Hmm.
So this goes on to enriching the profile of the candidate beyond the resume. And now we have not just the resume, we also have this interview data, which also becomes a part of their conversation and their profile, which can be used by application reviewer when they're answering any questions by the recruiter. So if now you're at any
Hmm.
recruiter is looking for person who has worked on Spring Boot, this candidate did not match that requirement, and hence this person will not be getting a high score. It just becomes it also goes beyond resume in that way.
Man, dude, this is amazing. So useful.
Yeah, I think people get defensive about AI use. I think it's happening everywhere, whether it is support, whether it is marketing. If you were just writing basic content, then of course you would be fearful of
Hmm.
AI. But
Hmm.
if you were actually thinking more about what to write, what should be my strategy, how should I engage, what is my value for the audience, right? These are higher order questions that now you are
Hmm.
getting a chance to do it. So people who are insecure will always worry about, this is being done by AI better. But the people who are more forward looking, they, as you said, they will look at, oh,
Hmm.
this is nice. So the great thing is AI here is not taking decisions. If you look at
Hmm.
it everywhere, we have not made any auto rejections and auto selections here.
Hmm.
What we have
Hmm.
done is, you came and said, okay, this is my role, this is what the skill set I need. It's completely customizable, you can define what you want. AI is saying and making guesses, wherever it is making guesses, it is giving you data points, and it is
Hmm.
just making it easy for you to see what you want to see. And then
Hmm.
you can look at the profile and still make choose to select a candidate who is not a fit. You can still
Hmm.
select candidates or reject candidates who it found to be great fit. So
Hmm.
you are deciding what you want to do. AI is just helping you achieve that faster. How do I understand the candidate is not lying? How do I understand the candidate is not faking
Hmm.
interest? Those are the real human problems that recruiters were not able to solve before, and it's still difficult, right? You can't really
Hmm.
predict. I still ask my recruiters have made like hundreds of hires, and still, if I say this candidate will join or not, they can't say it with full confidence, right? We
God.
can't match
Yeah.
that game still, right? So So that is where you need to get better at. Okay, this candidate will not join because the candidate is really looking for something else, right? Or we should change the strategy, right? This is all I showed you, assuming that you know what you're looking for. A lot of times you don't know what you're looking for, and your hiring manager might be looking for something else which is not there in the market. So your recruiter skill is not to look for what a hiring manager is looking for or is saying. You as a recruiter or as a TA person, your objective is to fill the role with the right person and have the conversation with the hiring manager. Say, you know what, I've done market research. There are not many people who have Java Spring Boot with this kind of combination immediately available. So we have to make a trade-off, and these are three
Oh yeah,
compromises we can
that is
do.
super useful. Super
Right, I can do
useful.
these
Yeah.
three compromises. If I have searched on CutShort, the tier one city thing is not giving much results. But if you drop this requirement and you go for high work quality, I'm able to find people who are not from tier one colleges but have actually done great work. Why don't we interview them? These are the questions and trade-offs you can do better now because you have more data at your hands right now, and you can make and the turnaround time is in minutes. It's not in hours and days, and there's no effort required, right? That is where a great recruiter will actually become more valuable to the company. They'll grow their career, they'll grow their salaries faster, and a candidate or the recruiter who was just getting that satisfaction of making 100 calls a day will actually lose out because that's the game has changed.
Absolutely. I think let's continue that thread. What is the your words of advice and wisdom that you have to, let's say I'm a 25-year-old aspiring recruiter. I want to grow my career in hiring. What advice would you have, keeping the future and the next 5 years, especially AI, in mind?
You need to understand the fundamentals of the role. Even though software coding can be done by AI, you still need to know the fundamentals of coding of software design because it's an engineering job. Similarly, for recruiting, what are the fundamentals of recruiting? It is not about searching by keywords. Unfortunately, if you look at the training material of any recruitment training academy, it's heavily focused on how to use Naukri, how to use keyword, how to use Boolean. Nobody is telling you how to talk to your hiring manager and have a conversation about a role which is too hard to fill. You can go months and months and the role is not filled. What is the economic value loss of that role which is not filled just because the hiring manager is refusing to budge, not able to
Oh,
make that call, right?
yes,
So
yes.
the point is, you need to understand the game which AI is going to play. I'm not saying just blindly trust AI that okay, AI can do this better. Trust, like, have that kind of understanding. Okay, what kind of roles exist? Because as I said, you need to understand the market, the talent market better. If you don't understand the software engineering, uh, let's say landscape, you don't understand what is a data engineer, why is this data engineer cheaper. So as a recruiter, you have to understand the market, you have to understand the different skill areas. Although you're not going to be using that thing all the time, you're not going to be searching by keywords, but still you should be able to interpret a resume or interpret an AI recommendation better. So that is one. What AI can do, you also have to learn the fundamentals of it. And second, what AI can't do is where you can really really become better. But because they are not being stakeholders and not being able to become change agents, they're just becoming very uh, order taking person who has no who is no position at the table. They're just saying okay, this is what we can do. But they can do much more by being the active stakeholder and say, you know what, why the candidates are not passing the interviews. So ChatGPT or AI tools can actually also help you understand
Yeah.
what was not given to you earlier, right? So I think these are the things that good recruiter or somebody who's starting out should invest in. Fundamentals of the roles, different roles, talent market, how does it work, having field experience with the candidate in terms of their motivations, really paying attention to it and trying to fix small things that are broken. When people use, like, AI came, right, and people said okay, we can make JDs with AI. What are they building? Your JD is as good as mine. There's no
Yeah.
change. But AI could have made a much better JD for me, better in the sense it could have captured what I'm looking for, what is my personality as a company better than what it should be yours. But what people are saying, and a lot of tools, in fact, if you look at, I showed you CutShort, we have not built a JD. I don't think JD should be standardized. I don't think JD should be left to an AI so that it can claim something which you are not. And as a startup, you are not same as anybody else. You're as unique as any other company out there. So why is your JD same, why your Java engineer role is saying the same thing, that we are looking for an excited rock star software engineer who can do this. No, this is not what JD is all about. JD is your advertisement. It should talk
Hmm.
about who you are first before you try to sell.
Hmm.
As a startup, you have to first sell yourself. And if your JD and if your thing is saying same thing, and you are writing you're writing template JD from ChatGPT, it is not going to cut it. And that's where it
Hmm.
will start. You think you will solve it later. You're not going to be able to solve it later, because if you are not able to attract that one candidate. By the way, as a startup, how many candidates you want to hire? Most startups want to hire only a few.
Hmm.
So
Correct.
even if you just measuring your entire funnel in percentage numbers, and you think, hey, my funnel is working great, 1,000 people applied, I interviewed so many, you're looking at just funnel numbers. But the classic problem here is, who did you lose?
Hmm.
1,000 people saw your job ad. Let's say 500 applied. You are happy.
Hmm.
But out of those 500 who did not apply were three people who were your ideal target fits, who did not apply because
Hmm.
your job did not appeal to them. And
Hmm.
that is an opportunity lost, because those were ideal candidates who had the right vibe match with your company. But you never were able to. You would just put out a standard JD saying, we are looking
Hmm.
for a rock star person who can hustle, who can do this.
Hmm.
No, if you do the same thing, you attract the same thing. And then why do you complain that candidates are not joining? Because you did not do anything to attract the right people. Then you are doing the same salary negotiation. You are saying the same
Hmm.
thing. You have X, I'll pay you 25% plus X. And
Hmm.
I will negotiate. I'll not make any process change to tell you how my negotiation process is going to be. I'm just going to play it the way I play it with every candidate. Every candidate thinks, should I ask for more? Should I not ask for more? Sometimes
Hmm.
some people actually go and invest their time into that negotiation. Sometimes people just say, hey, no, this will not work out for me. I'm okay with losing bad candidates, but good candidates, I can't afford to lose good candidates. So
Hmm.
it inverts the funnel psyche, because now I want to make sure that the great candidates are attracted, that you worked in. Every candidate is different. In the
Hmm.
first conversation, we are trying to figure out what the differences are. We're not trying to figure out, uh, do you belong to our die. We're trying to see how are you different. If you really want to solve this problem in that broader scope of things, it is not going to be as easy as a job where you just call so many people, make them interested, and you sleep. It's not a sales job. It's
Hmm.
not a
Hmm.
frontline salesperson job. You make so many calls, you get so much output. You have to really think about people. The company that you should work at should be having a team which is not only just, like a lot of people say retention is great, right? Retention is not great all the time. Some we as startups especially, right, we're willing to lose people
Hmm.
after 2 years. But we need the best people at this point in time, and they
Hmm.
should be at least here for 2 years. Good people will leave. That is also the part of the process. But
Hmm.
retention is not the benchmark. For example, it's a good benchmark for startups. If somebody's stuck in 5 years, they may not be stuck for all the right reasons as well, right? So how are you evaluating your performance also as a startup recruiter is also you need to look
Hmm.
at. But yeah, I would say, just to sum up, the game has changed. It is becoming more uh, business and people driven, and you need to have high agency. uh,
Hmm.
if you are waiting for someone else to come in and solve the problem for you, I think it is not going to be as easy
Hmm.
as it was in the past.
Hmm. And I'll just add two more things to that. One is the business part. You mentioned it. A lot of recruiters don't even understand the business. If you don't understand the business, you will not be able to partner with the business and actually see who should be hired and how they fit into the business. And again, AI will help a lot there, and also branding. As a recruiter, you should be able to brand your company. I think now a lot of the company branding part, EVP part, is going to recruitment, which I think is the right thing, because ultimately recruiters are owning the funnel, and this branding is a part of the funnel. You spoke of it, right? If you are able to really do branding, and there's so many now with what Gemini just did, right? You can create some amazing stuff, which you would probably a year back need your design team, and the design team is obviously never available to you. Now just do it yourself. That's where your high agency comes in. A mix of these two, AI is going to make you a killer AI, killer recruiter, because with tools like yours, large companies have people who are just doing what today the AI is doing 10x better. What will happen to their jobs? We don't know. We don't want to get into that, but you should be aware that there will be jobs also on the line, if AI becomes table stakes a couple of years later.
Yeah.
Awesome, cool, Nikunj. This has been amazing. We got a frontline sort of front view of CutShort, and our hope is even one or two people look at this, really take your advice to heart, start using AI tools. Then we would consider this a job well done. So on that note, Nikunj, where do people find you? Where do people, if people want to reach out to you or reach out to CutShort, and any closing thoughts from your side?
I'm reachable on LinkedIn. I'm reachable on my email, which I think we can give it
I'll put
in
it
the
below.
comment or
Yeah.
something. In terms of the final work, I think we already discussed the advice. I think this is a great time. A lot of times we just think of it as a threat, and this is happening everywhere, right? Every crisis is also an opportunity, and it happened with CutShort, for example, as well. 2 years ago, layoffs are happening, hiring freezes are happening, right? So what do we do as a tech hiring company, right? Uh, and we took that was a crisis. We converted that into an opportunity because AI came in. Uh, Also, AI is now displacing software engineers to some extent, or some requisitions are on
Yeah.
hold. So it affects the business, but it also is an opportunity for us to unlock something bigger. So every crisis will also give you an opportunity, and I think it just first is a mindset shift, that you just think of it as an opportunity, because this is a time. My long time frustration has been, most recruiters look at salaries of recruiters.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed. Like, people
Yeah.
have made jokes about Infosys salary, starting level salary, but what is a recruiter's starting salary and what is the salary hike they're getting? 5 year experience, 8 year. I've seen like 12, 15 year experience person getting 6 lakhs in Bangalore,
Mm.
right? So why is that happening? You are doing the same job. Nothing can be more uh, frustrating and stifling than that going to a job where your value is not being felt, where your manager is
Yes.
saying, okay, okay, you can leave, I'll find somebody else. Nobody wants
Mm.
that. And this is the only time in the history when you have that opportunity to create that leverage and say, hey, you know what, I'm not a typical recruiter you can replace, because I understand this
Mm.
company better, I understand the market better. If you ask ChatGPT, how's the candidate landscape for Java developers in India, it will not give you the accurate answer. But as a human, you will give that context about the talent market, about what works, why candidates move in India, why candidates will not take this job. All these things you know better. So I think uh, this is a time for you to amp up those things. So mindset change, and then start implementing and get the AI flight hours. So every layer, this is a good fundamental understanding, will help you in every adoption of multiple tools. So get the flight hours, it is cheaper now. Just use any model that you want and just pay. Even if you have to pay from your own pocket, just pay it,
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
the cost of not paying, the cost of not learning is huge, right? And the
Huge. Yeah.
opportunity of this is an investment that you have to make, like you invested in your education. Like, we should all be lifelong learners, so this is again an education fees that we have to pay to learn. And this will you'll be reaping big rewards.
Awesome, Nikunj. Thank you. Like I said, even if one person listens to this, takes what you said, this last 1 hour to heart, and just applies those models and what you said, for sure they're going to have a better career. So I think, thank you for coming on, sharing your heart out, sharing what CutShort is. This has been amazing 1 hour. Thanks.
Thank you,
Bye.
Ranak. Nice, and I wish you and your audience all the best.
Yeah.